Steve Kerr has never been the type to stay quiet when something bothers him, whether the topic is gun control, immigration, or the state of American politics. The Golden State Warriors head coach has consistently used his platform to speak out on issues he believes matter. That reputation, however, became the center of controversy earlier this season when rumors began circulating that the Warriors organization had quietly asked Kerr to tone things down. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into everything today, that like button right there is what decides if this video hits hundreds or thousands of people. 1 second is all it takes, but the impact on this channel is massive. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Seriously, it's the simplest thing you can do, and honestly, the best way to back this content up, because every single like pushes us further. So hit it now. The report surfaced in April, when veteran NBA journalist Mark Spears made comments on Bay Area radio station 95.7, The Game, suggesting that Kerr may have been pressured to scale back his public political commentary. Spears said he had heard that some people within the organization were growing tired of the attention Kerr's remarks were drawing, and that there was a feeling he was being, in his words, stifled a little bit. Spears also noted that he had heard some inside the organization were done with Kerr's outspoken voice on social issues. Those comments gained traction quickly. Given the current climate around sports and political speech, the idea that one of the NBA's most recognized and respected coaches was being told to stay in his lane was a story that resonated with fans and media alike. For weeks, it remained an open question with no direct response from the coach himself. That changed at Golden State's end-of-season exit interviews on Friday. When reporters asked Kerr directly whether his political speaking had come up in conversations about his coaching future with team management, he was blunt. It never happened. The topic, he said, literally never came up during any of the discussions that led to his new contract. Kerr expanded on that in a separate interview with the San Francisco Standard's Tim Kawakami. He explained that team owner Joe Lacob has always given him the freedom to say what he wants. Kerr acknowledged that Lacob, as any franchise owner would, does not want unnecessary controversy hovering over the organization. But he was equally clear that Lacob has consistently respected his right to speak out on issues that he believes are important to the country. In Kerr's view, there is no contradiction between Lacob's desire to avoid drama and his support for Kerr's public commentary. The Warriors also confirmed this week that Kerr and the organization reached an agreement on a new 2-year contract, keeping him on the sideline in San Francisco for at least 2 more seasons. The deal was formally announced Tuesday, putting to rest months of uncertainty about whether Kerr would continue coaching or step away. That uncertainty had been building for much of the 2025-26 season. Golden State finished below expectations, and questions around Kerr's future seemed to grow louder with each passing week. Now, with the contract confirmed and the political rumors denied, Kerr heads into the offseason with his role secured and his voice, at least in his own telling, as free as it has ever been. But Kerr himself was not entirely satisfied with his own performance this season. During the same exit interview session, he was candid about what he felt he needed to improve. He said plainly that he did not have a great coaching year, that the team got too loose at times, and that he needs to tighten things up heading into next season. That kind of self-accountability is part of what has made Kerr one of the more respected coaches in the league, even in difficult years. One of the specific areas Kerr pointed to was turnovers. Golden State ranked 26th in the league in turnover rate during the 2025-26 regular season, a number that is hard to defend regardless of how it is explained. The Warriors' style of play, which emphasizes high volumes of passing and ball movement, can generate quality shot opportunities, but also create situations where careless passes lead to easy baskets at the other end. It is a trade-off the organization has lived with for years, but this season the cost became more visible. Draymond Green was among the players who struggled most in this area. He ranked among the higher turnover per minute players on the roster relative to his scoring output, which raises real questions about how his role should be managed going forward. Other contributors, including Gue Santos, Pat Spencer, DeAnthony Melton, and even Stephen Curry, had turnover rates that left room for improvement. Kerr's solution, at least in part, appears to involve tightening discipline within his offensive system. The Warriors need more possessions to end with actual shot attempts rather than turnovers that give opponents easy transition opportunities. Whether Kerr adjusts the system itself or simply enforces sharper decision-making within it remains to be seen, but the acknowledgement that something needs to change is a start. With 2 more years guaranteed and the political noise behind him, Kerr enters this offseason with a clear mission: fix what went wrong on the court and rebuild a Warriors team capable of competing seriously in the Western Conference once again. When the Golden State Warriors finished their 2025-26 season short of expectations once again, most observers assumed there would be a frank acknowledgement from team leadership that the roster simply was not good enough. Most assumed wrong. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. sat down with reporters on Friday for the organization's end-of-season press conference, and what he said about the Warriors roster left plenty of people in the room, and watching at home, genuinely surprised. According to Dunleavy, the talent on the Golden State roster was not the primary reason the team came up short this season. His view is that injuries and factors within the team's control were the real culprits, not the quality of the players available. In his own words, Dunleavy acknowledged that the roster does need to get better, but he went further, suggesting that the Warriors never actually reached a point this season where they went head-to-head with a team that had clearly superior talent. The implication was striking. In Dunleavy's estimation, Golden State's roster, when healthy, was competitive with anyone in the Western Conference. That is a bold claim that many around the league would push back on hard. Before the injury situation became unmanageable this season, the Warriors were hovering somewhere in the middle of the Western Conference standings. For comparison, the Oklahoma City Thunder were on a pace well above 60 wins at the same point in the season. The gap between those two franchises in terms of roster quality was visible every night, and suggesting otherwise strains credulity. There is, however, another way to read Dunleavy's comments. If taken at face value, his statement that the roster was not the problem shifts all the blame onto the coaching staff. If the talent was there and the team still underperformed by roughly 11 games relative to the Western Conference leader before injury struck, then that is a coaching failure on a significant scale. It is the kind of underperformance that in most NBA cities would result in a head coaching change, not a new contract. Yet Steve Kerr did receive a new 2-year contract, which was announced earlier this week. So either Dunleavy does not truly believe what he said publicly, or the Warriors operate under a different standard when it comes to evaluating Kerr's performance. Neither explanation is entirely satisfying. The more likely interpretation is that Dunleavy is managing messaging more than he is making a genuine analytical argument. The Warriors are entering an off-season where their most realistic path forward involves keeping much of the same core intact, at least until players like Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody return from their injuries. Publicly declaring that the roster was inadequate would not exactly inspire confidence in the players who are coming back, and it would do little to improve the team's standing in trade negotiations where perception of Golden State's assets matters. There is also the uncomfortable reality of the turnover problem. Golden State ranked 26th in the league in turnover rate this past season. That is a systemic issue that has followed the Warriors for several years now. Dunleavy specifically pointed to turnovers as a controllable factor, and he is not wrong that the number is alarming. But the question of whether turnovers were the cause of the team's struggles or a symptom of a roster without enough ball-handling talent to run a high-movement offense cleanly is genuinely complicated. Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler were the 2 players on the roster consistently capable of creating offense independently off the dribble. Without both of them healthy and available for significant stretches, the Warriors lacked the personnel to execute Kerr's system at a high level. Asking role players to fill those creation gaps within a pass-heavy offense is a structural problem no amount of tightening discipline can fully solve. The Warriors do have a number 11 pick in the upcoming NBA draft, and Dunleavy said Friday that the organization is open to using that pick in a trade involving a veteran player if the right offer comes along. With 83% of their 2026-27 payroll already committed to Curry, Butler, and Draymond Green, their financial flexibility is limited. Green also holds a player option worth $27.7 million, adding another layer of uncertainty to the summer planning. Whether Dunleavy's comments were strategic positioning or genuine belief, the Warriors have difficult decisions ahead. The roster question will not go away simply because the general manager chose not to engage with it directly on Friday. One factor working in the Warriors' favor heading into next season is Curry's expected full return. Sources confirmed his knee issue will not require surgery and that he should be ready for training camp without restrictions. At 38, he averaged 26.6 points and 4.7 assists per game this past season. His availability is the franchise's single most critical asset. Whether Dunleavy's roster optimism reflects genuine belief or calculated messaging, the moves made this summer will tell the real story. The Golden State Warriors are entering one of the most consequential off-seasons in years, with a contract extension for Stephen Curry, a payroll that leaves almost no room to maneuver, and an aggressive pursuit of at least one more star, all happening at the same time. The organization's decisions over the next several months could define the final chapter of the Curry era and determine whether the franchise returns to genuine contention or continues to drift in the middle of a loaded Western Conference. Starting with Curry himself, sources close to the situation have confirmed that the two-time MVP plans to remain with the Warriors and wants to play at least 20 NBA seasons before considering retirement. His 16th season just concluded, meaning he intends to play at least 4 more years of professional basketball. He is eligible to sign a contract extension on August 29th, and the Warriors plan to turn their full attention to those negotiations almost immediately after completing other off-season business. Curry currently earns $62.5 million in the final year of his existing deal and would be an unrestricted free agent in 2027 if no extension is reached. A new 2-year deal could be worth approximately $136.7 million, which would make him the highest paid player in franchise history on an annual basis. Importantly, Curry's knee injury from this past season is not expected to affect his availability going forward. Sources have confirmed that the injury resulted from accumulated wear and overuse rather than structural damage, and no surgery is required. He is expected to enter training camp in September fully healthy and ready to compete. Despite the Warriors' disappointing season, Curry himself was still performing at an elite level, averaging 26.6 points, 4.7 assists, and 3.6 rebounds per game, while shooting 39.3% from three-point range. The challenge for general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. is that the money picture around Curry is complicated. According to reporting from the San Francisco Chronicle, the Warriors are heading into the 2026-27 season with approximately 83% of their projected payroll already committed to just 3 players: Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Green also holds a player option worth $27.7 million that he must decide on by June 29th. That concentration of salary leaves Golden State with extremely limited flexibility to add pieces through conventional free agency routes. Despite those constraints, Dunleavy made clear on Friday that the organization intends to be active this summer. He said directly that the Warriors will look at everything, including using their number 11 pick in the upcoming NBA draft in a trade involving a proven veteran. He also confirmed that the team is always in the conversation when it comes to standout players who become available. That language is widely understood to reference the ongoing speculation surrounding Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has been linked to Golden State for more than a year, as well as Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James, both of whom remain subjects of trade and free agency rumors. Acquiring any of those players would require significant financial and roster maneuvering. Green or Butler or both could potentially be involved in a deal designed to create space for a new star. Whether that is something the Warriors are genuinely prepared to pursue, or whether it is aspirational thinking that does not match their actual trade leverage, remains an open question. Dunleavy acknowledged that options such as restructuring contracts and exploring sign-and-trade possibilities are all on the table. The NBA draft itself also offers an avenue for improvement. Golden State holds the 11th overall pick, which is a legitimate asset that could be used either to select a promising young contributor or as currency in a larger trade. Dunleavy said the organization is prepared to move up, move back, or trade the pick entirely, depending on what opportunities emerge. That flexibility, while modest compared to what the league's rebuild franchises can offer, at least gives the Warriors something to work with in a crowded off-season market. There is also the matter of Brandon Podziemski, the 23-year-old guard entering the final year of his rookie contract. Dunleavy must decide whether to extend Podziemski before next season begins, or allow him to play out the year and enter restricted free agency. Podziemski has shown flashes of real potential, and provides a level of youth and development that the Warriors otherwise lack on their roster. The overarching reality is that the Warriors find themselves at what Kerr himself called an inflection point. The Curry era is not over, but it is clearly entering its final phase. The next 2 seasons represent the most realistic window for Golden State to build something capable of competing for a title while their cornerstone is still performing at an elite level. How aggressively the front office chooses to act this summer will say everything about whether the organization truly believes another championship run is possible.